Sorry. God damn it, I was muted. So the reason why I ended up agreeing to going on to the map panel was because you need to have people who know what's going on with the subject. I didn't want it to
Sorry.
be just a bunch of people who had no
God
idea.
damn it, I was
Muted. So the reason why I ended up agreeing to going on to the
Honestly, I don't even see it as that. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way I see it is it's people who are willing to trudge into the filth to have the actual conversation, and the people that aren't. And it's actually a really easy conversation as long as you are careful not to have a 16-year-old on there.
I wasn't the organizer. And I've
Yeah.
streamed with a lot of people, and it's always been pretty well handled with like who's gonna be on and who's not. Well, you say it's an easy conversation to have, but I've seen some conversations go really badly on touchy subjects. Like I don't ever debate anybody
Mhm.
on the Jewish question or race realism
Yeah.
because I'm not super well versed on
Right.
these things, and I think that if you have a poor conversation,
Mm,
you can help the other side of the conversation out a lot. I don't want to be a
maybe.
useful idiot. And I didn't know like Wick was going to
Maybe.
be there. I didn't know Sprout was going to be there. I didn't know that there was going to be people there who could hold their own. So it just seemed like, well,
Honestly, I feel like these conversations are just the easiest ones to have because I feel like people get caught, and you might disagree. It's fine. You might get. I feel like people get caught up in the rhetoric, but they're unable to acknowledge their differences. And so it just becomes you can't let like if you're talking to like like Nick Fuentes or something, you can't let him just keep spewing rhetoric. You got to say, no, this is what you think, and I disagree with that. It doesn't matter what else you say. This is what we're talking about. This is what I just, and as long as you can do that, it's actually really simple conversation. Just people just are in debate bro mode, and they just really want to have this fucking like long like fucking spiel of binder no information. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. I might be painfully wrong and find that out one day. But anyway,
sometimes
my
it's a
opinion.
really easy conversation to have, and it should be, but I don't think everybody handles the conversations well. And so I
Yeah.
thought to myself, like, I can definitely handle this conversation pretty well. I know the stuff, and
Yeah.
if anybody is saying really stupid stuff, I'm very confident that I can show why what they're saying is really stupid and or irresponsible to say. Um, and I think that like I don't know if anybody else was, but like I'm also a parent, so it seemed like it was a good idea to have somebody who actually has a kid who has
Mhm.
who's not just sort of like for lack of a better way to put it, just sort of like guessing how kids think and behave when you have a kid. I think that you get a lot of perspective at like when people just say like, well, can kids consent and all that? Like I think it's pretty intuitive to say no, but like when you have a kid, like I think your perspective gets a lot broader, and these things are like so apparent to you that if somebody comes up with like good rhetoric to try to like dance around this, I think it's really easy if you have a kid to be like, no, shut the fuck up, you're just wrong, and then
Mhm.
explain through your experience why that they are just incorrect about these things.
Yeah. My takeaway after listening to a little bit of this drama, because like there's not a lot. The drama is that there was a 16-year-old on the panel
Yeah.
that was apparently the involved under the influence of one of the maps,
Mm-hmm.
and this was unbeknownst to the people on the panel while it was happening. But
Correct.
yes, but like there was basically like a victim of grooming, basically, that was advocating for the groomer. And how old was this guy?
The Grimmer,
Yeah.
I believe they were like 22 or 23, and the
Okay. Listen. I don't. I'm not even. I don't even think. I think this person needs a stern talking to. This can't happen. Um, I don't know. 22-year-old with talking to a 16-year-old. I don't know, man.
so here's the
Doesn't.
big problem. This 16-year-old had been a part of what has only been called, as far as we can hear, is the community. Um, and since they said for 5 years, which means they've been part of like this community where they're meeting these people for
Hmm.
or since they were 11.
That should be absolutely looked into. That sounds really bad. It sounds really bad. Hopefully it isn't, but I mean, it sounds pretty bad. So, yeah. Uh, yeah, that sounds real bad. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
even if we
Man.
even if we want to allow some wiggle room for uh, certain ages
Yeah.
and all that, I think that shit goes right out the window when you understand they met like meeting in a community.
Okay.
Period. It's not like they
Yeah.
just like they're in the same social circles and they happen to meet or anything like that. It's like that. It was like a very intentional meeting of somebody on both ends. Like they were looking for an adult, and the adult was looking for somebody who was underage.
Hmm.
This becomes a lot more malicious than
That that certainly is a malicious structure. I want this is all right. Like people like there, we got to find out what's going on. you know. Yeah.
yeah,
My main takeaway for like I don't even that's a bombshell to me, but my main takeaway was that the excuse that the guy who planned it and had those guys come in was that he was high.
yeah,
Um, and I heard him say that, and I heard him defend himself, and um, I heard the other guy that was running the panel say that he was freaking out because he wasn't in contact, and this guy like had blocked him and stuff, and know what was going on. This honestly, I've quit weed for like 4 weeks, and like I'm glad I quit weed. Uh, if it really is just utter incompetence because he's a fucking stoner, this is a good PSA.
yeah.
It makes you dumber. It makes you dumber in general. I think. I mean, it's fun, but the reason I stopped is because it makes you dumber
I
overall.
stopped. I just sort of naturally stopped. I didn't really realize I had quit until it'd been. I was like, it's like 3 weeks since I smoked. Like I guess I'm done now. I guess I just don't do that anymore. I think it's been
Mhm.
like 3 years now. I want to say.
Where's my chat at? Hold on, I'm missing my chat window. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Someone said being high doesn't make you that stupid. No, no. But being high can make you just like
It can make you careless. It can make you complacent really well.
careless and complacent. That's exactly it. Careless and complacent. Yes. Slow to react, slow in the uptake. Yeah. I mean,
I also think that any apology that he gave went right out the fucking window when he tried to say, "Oh, well, I was high," but then he went on to say that he smokes all the time. Like if you smoke all the time, uh, then you're not going to be that affected by
okay.
it.
I have more. I have another thing to say about this. And okay, push back because what I'm about to say is like I'm not confident about what I'm saying. I need pushback. Okay.
Sure.
I want to ask questions that I'm not sure the answer to. Um, it having that poor planning now happened. Now we have a 16-year-old and a 22-year-old that met on something on the panel. Is that grounds to terminate the panel immediately, or do you think at that point it actually would be um, important to actually dive into it like full force, like what's going on like right now, like um, I,
So
maybe the 16-year-old needs to be removed and the conversation continues from there. I
that's
don't know.
kind of what
Maybe it needs to be
happened.
private.
So basically, what had happened was, well, in much to it stressed me the fuck out that so they were like, well, I can go if anybody has a problem with it. And when it was first found out and they were saying this, I was looking at my phone. My girlfriend was texting me, and like I wasn't talking, so I was like a little checked out. And then like I'm done, and it's just sort of all sinking in. I'm like, yeah, nobody fucking wants you here. Leave, go. Like what? Like, and I was pretty upset that the host didn't do that.
The
What?
16-year-old.
Yeah, didn't tell the 16-year-old to leave, and like they were
Yeah, yeah,
just more or
yeah, yeah,
less
yeah.
like worried about going. Oh, well, I didn't even know. Like fuck you. Whether you knew or not, I think he did know. It seems pretty likely that he did know. But even if he didn't, it's your job. There's two hosts there.
Mhm.
It's your job
And
to get them out of there. Kick them from the call. It should not have been
right,
me to say you need to leave.
the thing that is to be frank, kind of in the shit people are saying about this, kind of grossing me out, disgusting me a little bit, is that I feel like when people are talking about this, they're saying that the 16-year-old should be kicked, and it sounds like it's coming from a place of like self-preservation. But the reason the 16-year-old needs to be kicked is for their own good. Because also part of me, like I just said, thinks that, having the 16-year-old there and the person, like the map person there on the same call, that's interesting as fuck. There's a lot to be delved into that should be done in private, not on the call for the protection of the 16-year-olds. Like that is the reason to get them off for their own sake, I
Yeah,
think.
I think that I at least for me, I definitely took it as everybody cared about the 16-year-old being there, like
Okay.
that we didn't want them to be there like actively being like everything that was wrong about it them being there seemed to me, and I think to the other people there, was centered around the fact that like there's no world in which they should be a part of the like, they shouldn't have been a part of the conversation to begin with, and they shouldn't have been a part of the conversation with the person that's dating them there. That was
Yeah.
like fucking insane.
Yeah. Somewhat. Yeah.
That's the thing that makes it like particularly fucking nuts.
So yeah. Would it be ethical to interview this 16-year-old and find out more off of a off of a live stream?
I think that it would
Someone
be
someone should, right?
um I don't think
Like
so. I think at this
no,
point, well, they've already been exploited by adults.
no,
Uh,
maybe not even for content. I mean, just like interview them to like learn more. Like
I think they need therapy. I think that a professional should be talking to them for sure.
okay, yeah,
I think that I don't. So I think that there could be something valuable to be learned there, but uh, I don't know if it could be
a
done
streamer.
responsibly.
Oh no, this is the thing. I think it's just that streamers are all opportunists, and we all have that assumption. So the thought of a streamer going to the 16-year-old and talking to them doesn't seem wholesome. We all feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels
So
bad.
yeah, and but an adult needs to step in there.
Uh,
I think.
Yeah, I think that it should happen offline. I think that it
Yeah,
immediately is going to complicate things. Like the person interviewing that, if it was done on stream, I think the person interviewing them is going to have like underlining incentive to make it interesting. And that
that's just
conversation
no.
doesn't need to be had with
No.
how interesting is this conversation in mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that they need to speak with a professional clearly, and the best interest of the kid needs to be taken into account during the
yeah,
entirety of that conversation.
yeah.
Like my kid's 14. Like it's not like it's that far from home, you know?
Right. I think though that this now that this has happened, the 16-year-old should not be part of the conversation. Um Now this is a great place to start a conversation. You know?
Yeah.
Now the map conversation starts. That's why I wanted cuz now it's actually we're in the real gritty. Like so yeah. That's what I think at least.
Yeah,
So maybe
there's
there
a
should
whole new there's a whole new interesting conversation to be had about what happened there. Um
yeah. Oh, and also about like even to that guy, that map guy.
mhm.
I want to hear what he has to say for himself, and I want to hear. I want like I don't think that I don't know. I didn't listen to him talk. I don't know if he's like a Nick Fuentes like rhetoric like master who's going to manipulate the audience. but
I
I
don't
would
think so.
assume he's not. Yeah. So in that case, like I want to hear if he wants to be on stream, I want to hear what he has to say. With some pushback, a lot of pushback. Like I want to dive into that. I think that's interesting. Maybe that's unethical. Someone should tell me, but
I think it's
I don't know.
unethical. Oh wait, to
You
talk
do?
to the groomer guy.
Yeah,
Uh,
it
it's
could be unethical.
if you
It could be.
if the
It could.
conversation is handled appropriately, um, I think it's probably
It
okay.
could also. It also could put him in undue risk too.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
actually a really valid point. Yeah, I think it's tough. I think for me, I wouldn't want to talk to either of them uh, at
Hmm.
all. I think that it's the risk of doing harm is pretty high.
Hmm.
And I think that it's it'd be a tough conversation to have responsibly. Uh, I think that if somebody thinks they can do it, they should really sort of check themselves. And I think they need to have like a really good justification for why they think they can do that appropriately.
I don't even think the 16-year-old is in question.
Yeah.
Um, as far as content is concerned in any way, but the adult 22-year-old, I think it's actually unethical because this is now like you can't interview someone to talk about a crime they did before there's a trial. Like that's yeah, I don't think that's a good thing to do. Okay, and I think we've pretty much said it all though. There's not much else to say unless you can think of something.
Um, I don't think so. And I may even feel differently later. Like this is the first time I really considered somebody talking to that person. But but yeah, I think that it would just be best if they were just I don't know. It seems really sketchy to talk to them about anything.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, I want to know questions. Like, I want to know, like, so was it you that told this 16-year-old to come on with you? I want
No.
to know, like, so tell me about this group. I want to know, like, how do you got involved in this group? Like, this, how does this go on? I want to know, like, so what is your defense of this? What do you have to say for this?
Sure.
But in doing that, that also might put them in, they should talk to a lawyer, so
I thought it's D&D. He needed to have a lawyer when he was talking to Chud. He just kept going on and on. He's like, eventually, at one point, he said, "Yeah, I probably was doing it for clout to some degree." I was just like, "Wow." If I was your lawyer, I'd be like, "You need to shut the fuck up right now. What are you doing?" They seem to have
yeah,
no like that. That alone showed me that they don't have the capacity to be putting something on that's a touchy subject like this at all. If you can't even realize that, like when you need to shut up when you're in trouble, like good God,
yeah.
it was an impressive level of being real dumb, in my opinion.
I honestly though, I think it's okay to have idiots talk about this stuff. It's like, uh, I just, like people airing out their like opinions and stuff. I don't know, like the platforming to me of a random map,
Mhm.
isn't the same as Nick Fuentes. It's just like it's not the same thing to me. It's just some idiot. Like the people that are dangerous aren't people that are bad people. The people that are dangerous are the people that are like politicians and mass like great communicators and have like an agenda. It's just a random map doesn't have an agenda. It's just a person that, you know,
I think they do have an agenda. The agenda is, if they're going on a panel to talk about it, their agenda is to get people to be more
yeah,
accepting of
I
uh,
guess.
their mapness.
Yeah. But that's them. They're defending themselves.
But when you're
It's not
defending
like they're
yourself, you're defending yourself for the thing that you're doing. You're not defending your existence. You're saying like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. And when you say that, you're also saying that like other people who are doing what I'm doing are also doing nothing wrong. There's an extension
yeah.
to which you can take
Yeah,
any of
yeah.
their arguments.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
it's which like I said, like it's okay to have a conversation about these things, but you have to be ready to have that conversation. I think that there was a good amount of people who were ready to have that conversation. Like I said, Wick did
Mhm.
great, Sprout did great. I think that I did pretty good. Rose did good. The people on the like anti-map side did pretty good. I was really glad that most of the rhetoric was like, we need to get these people help
Yeah.
so that they don't
Um,
offend.
do you think that it's unethical altogether to have um, anti-map people talk to pro-map people? I don't think that's unethical. I think that's a really good conversation. I don't think that. I think like having the pro-map people doesn't make it unethical. I think there's plenty of anti-map people that are perfectly capable of having that conversation. Even like somebody that's not even that great at it is probably going to be not that bad at it. To be honest, depending on um, how much of a communicator you get of the map.
We
Yeah,
would
I don't know.
hope, yeah. Like I said, the people did really well that were on the like anti-map side. Although it's such a weird framing too, because when I first got invited and I was in the Discord, I was like, there was like a section for both of them to like introduce yourself. I was like, wait, am I like in the context of this, like, am I pro map or anti map? Because like I think that we shouldn't like I'm not for like chastising people and like being shitty to them. I think that like we need to get them like they need to get help. It's like I don't know where that lands me as far as this conversation goes. Oh, my allergies are acted up. And I never got an answer either. So I didn't know. I didn't even know where that
Well,
landed me in the context of the conversation. It was very
I don't.
strangely handled.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that framing. Um, I think that the thing that they need help from more than anything is the fact that they are using the term map and identifying as it. Like, say you're attracted to 17-year-olds, okay, then just don't have sex with 17-year-olds. Like, um, don't like. I mean, like, don't like make a label for yourself and like advocate for it. Like, um, as long as you're not doing that, I don't care if you're attracted to 17-year-olds as long as you don't fuck them. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh, yeah,
so what I'm saying is the
but
thing
the way
that they
that we
need help
stop that from
from
happening
is
is to get help and seek treatment.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like what's borne out in the data, right?
Treatment for like some, so I guess these maps are saying they have uncontrollable desire to fuck 17-year-olds or younger.
Well, one of the things that I pointed out is that you don't know if something's uncontrollable until you're in a situation where you can't control it.
Hmm.
So, to me, the solution would be to get help before you reach that point.
I
You don't want to wait until
have
you're in a
you ever
situation where you can't control it to
I've jerked off to like hentai where there's like anime women that are like in like extreme torture bondage,
Mhm.
like horrific like Lovecraftian things. And I think if I saw that in real life, I wouldn't have any desire to act on it. You know what I mean? At all.
Yeah,
I
but
think
when it
there's
comes
such
to
a separation there.
are you suggesting that you have a paraphilia for it though?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's what that means either. But if you have a paraphilia, this is something that's a little bit different, and I think everything that I know about the subject would say that there's something that's a little bit different going on here than like a typical like I'm gonna watch this video because because whatever, like I find it provocative or interesting, and this is just like what I'm gonna do today. These are people that have like a strong, consistent attraction to underage kids, and like so,
Hmm.
like think about it like this. Essentially, uh, I see, like yeah, we've talked. Yeah, you're primarily attracted to women, right?
Hmm.
So for these people, what they're being told is that you can never have your baseline sexual desires fulfilled ever, no matter what. Under no circumstances can you do that. Even if a woman's begging you, even if you like meet a woman and you click super well, you're not allowed to do that. That's the kind of situation that they face, and we don't know when that's going to be too much for somebody. I think that the average person would have a really hard time not eventually giving into that
Mhm.
because sexual desire is so strong. So I think that if it was if it was the case that it was as bad to sleep with a woman as it is for these people to
It's
sleep
pretty
with
bad.
minors.
It's pretty bad to sleep with a woman.
Well,
Yeah.
I've had mostly good experiences. Um,
Oh, it's
it,
hard. It's horrible. Uh,
I
yeah.
think that I would definitely go and seek treatment because like fuck I wouldn't know how to deal with that. I think it would be extremely hard for me not
Yeah.
to give it
Well,
and sleep with a woman who
I
like very clearly wanted to sleep with me. I'd be like shit, this is tough.
we're going down a rabbit hole, but like I just have so many opinions on this type of thing. I think that your sexuality is more fluid than people think, and something akin to like a are you doing right, by the way?
Yeah, I just have like some
Are you
allergies.
okay? Okay. I don't want you to like be suffering
Not
as
just
long as it's
allergies.
okay. Um, I think that there are things about my sexuality that I have molded myself to be. I think I think that it's totally possible. I don't. Nobody's ever made a conversion therapy regimen that works, but I mean, as far as on your own to yourself, I think people do it all the time. And
Uh,
so if you're like if you're attracted, and I think acknowledging that fact, because I think that's just kind of a fact, and acknowledging that would empower people to be able to like try to work on themselves. Like to say that they can't do that is what's going to keep them back. Like one thing I've recently said is I used to not find like breasts attractive, so I worked on that because I find that breasts are just such um a baseline part of human intimacy between a man and a woman because they're just there and they're big and like, but I would like I just like didn't see them as very sexual. It's like it's not a pussy and I don't fuck it. So like what? So I worked on it's part of human intimacy. It's part of it's a tactile human intimacy closeness thing and worked on that and now I'm more attracted to them. Um,
uh, sure.
I
I don't
learned how
think
to
that
be a
doesn't.
dom. I learned how to be a dom because I realized that being a sub as a man is very bad statistically. It makes your happiness. If you can only be happy being a submissive role in like sex as a man, your odds are really low. You're not going to get that very much. So I learned how to be a dom and enjoy it, and now I can do that, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, but you're all these things are working within your already like sexual proclivities. You're not working outside of the. You're not like working outside of like what would be like these are all still things involving you with women is what I'm getting at.
I have made myself more gay. I have made myself. I have made it. I've made it so that I can look at a chair and imagine the person sitting in it and then jerk off to the chair because like I think you can chain together any string of things and make it lead to anything. Um, and that's I think a really good creative exercise.
Sure, but I think that when you're dealing with paraphilia, I haven't seen any data to suggest that people can just will themselves to get better, and that would be something that
I don't
would be really
I don't know
interesting.
how you I don't know how you could though because it's something that's going to be incredibly personal and it's not the type of thing that you're going to have like study like intimate information of and it's going to be so personal and individual to every single person so um like much like you cannot medicalize psychotherapy and most a lot of mental health professionals are so dismissive of psychotherapy because you cannot medicalize it, you cannot standardize it because it's going to be unique to every single person, and how you do it with them is going to be different and stuff. It's
We do have standards in psychotherapy, though.
we have ethics.
Yeah, we have ethical standards. We have, well, not only that too. Like, there's a reason why you have to get an education in this too.
Wait. What I'm saying is, so the medicalization will go down the route of like diagnosis or like and like medication
Yeah,
or CBT or something. Um, and so these things are this is the problem. We're going to say your traits equal this issue. This
yeah,
fits this diagnosis. This is the solution. This is the solution. This is the solution. But the old school psychotherapy, which so many people are dismissive of now, is where you look at a person and you say, okay, you have these symptoms um, of aggression. You have explosive intermittent explosiveness disorder, which is something I think most streamers have. Most male streamers, they it's when you intermittently get a fucking and that's what's entertaining. Most streamers fucking have it for sure. Um, say you have those symptoms, then your psychotherapist will then ask you more questions, ask you
mhm,
about um, and one thing leads to another. It, always goes back to your parents or some trauma and stuff, and you work on it from there, and you confront those issues. And there's no one way that's going to play out for any person. And maybe some person, and maybe certain people, they just can't get through it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't work. But there's just no standard way that can be applied in any medical sterile situation where you can tell a doctor do this, do this, do this. You might even need the right therapist to even help somebody.
sure. And I think that's what the prescription is to find a therapist that works for you and talk
It's
out
so
your
vague.
problems. I think it seems a lot more vague when you. Uh, I think it comes off as a lot less vague when you've had the training. You kind of have like you kind of know what paths to take, yeah, what routes to go down with people based on things they say. Have you been in therapy before?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah, me too.
I've had different types of therapists, and yeah, I talk to them about my ideas. It's a lot thing I talk to my therapists about a lot is my ideas of psychology. I talk to them about psychology. I get an education out of it, and I get a lot of reinforcement for a lot of things I think about psychotherapy.
Yeah, I talked to my therapist about psychology a lot too.
Yeah, my current therapist, she like I think she gets anxious because like I get so into the weeds with her, and she's like, oh fucking here's this guy again. And I gotta fucking get my fucking textbook ready. Um anyway, yeah. I
I
believe
I understand.
I I believe that you can train yourself sexually.
I guess even if you could, um, I don't know if everybody can.
Maybe not. But in saying that we can, maybe we can learn what type of skill set you need to be able to do it in the first place and then actually go from there. Because teaching people the skills to help them do it might be good. It's just my issue, and I think this is the trend I believe is happening, is we just so focused on medicalizing, making everything standard, making everything like so you can step by step textbook diagnosis, medication, treatment, and that's just not how psychotherapy works.
But we just described that that's literally how it works.
I guess. But every therapist is like different though. I don't think I don't think it's that medical. I don't think it's that sterile. I think it's very fluid, wishy-washy, um, vague. It's just intimacy and
Yeah, I think intimacy is a pretty
self-discovery,
big part of it.
exploration, self-discovery, intimacy, trust. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's very often a prescription that if your current therapist isn't working for you, then you should see another therapist.
All right.
Um,
Well, that's my opinion. Anyway, we disagree, I
okay,
think.
yeah, I think I agree pretty strongly with Dr. James Cantor.
James Cantor.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, he's the expert. I'm gonna take his word for it. He said the treatment is the only thing that seems to reduce the number of offenses, although it does not reduce
Yeah.
the
Well,
attraction.
what's the treatment? But what's the treatment?
Therapy, psychotherapy.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Oh, okay. Well then,
No, no,
we're good.
but like, I just think that we should tell. I think that in telling people they can't train themselves sexually, we're
Mhm.
really missing an opportunity because I think it's actually not even that hard. Like if people just have some self exploration, you jerk off every single day. You've got the textbook open every single fucking day in your hand, and so like every you're exploring that every single day, and you're like exploring the recesses of your sexual mind, and just telling people that they can do this. Opens a lot of doors for self exploration, you know, and self improvement and betterment. You know, like if you're a pedophile, try working on it. You know, you why not? You know, why not? Really?
I do think that people should try to better themselves. Sure, I just think that that bettering yourself might be a little harder
if you're a
for some people
pedophile,
to reach.
if you're a pedophile, think about what
And
it is about a kid that gets you going, and think about what those features are and why those are different from an adult.
I'm pretty sure
Find
they
the
already know
thing,
this.
find the thing. Okay, yeah, but yeah, so find that thing, analyze why, deconstruct it, and then see if you can push and pull there. See what you have leverage over. See how far you can go. See and think about what people say about that's wrong with being a pedophile. Why should this be unattractive? What are they calculating into their analysis of this person that you're not calculating? You know, like like, you know, just deconstruct your own mind and try to, like, I know, I think that I
It
do
sounds a
that with
lot like
every single,
conversion therapy.
I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I don't believe that
Well,
because
you'd have to
I've
take.
done it to myself.
Sure, but this is something that you were doing willingly on your own.
That's
And
what
I
I'm
think
saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, like, I don't think a camp would work. I don't think you could have a standard medicalized like way to do it. I just think that encouraging people to try it on themselves.
uh, if they want to try that, I think that I would only encourage them to try that while also seeking
Sure, yeah.
therapy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right then.
I'm not saying it's a like golden goose solution.
Okay.
I'm just saying to put that out of the equation, I think really throws away something that could really help a lot of people with paraphilias.
Um, okay, yeah, if they're going to therapy and they want to try anything else to help them too that isn't involving any children, I'm all for them trying ways to get better, as long as therapy is a part of it.
Hmm.
Uh, and they should probably talk to their therapist about the ways that they're trying to improve as well. But other than that, yeah, that would just be my sticking point is that we always must include uh,
Yeah.
therapy in this. Yeah.
My sticking point is that I'm so much more gay than I was 2 years ago. Okay, we wanted to talk about
Polyamory.
polyamory. Yes,
Yeah.
you're a polyamorist.
Yeah, I've said a few times on different streams, I'm polyamorous as fuck.
Hmm. I've had a lot of experiences indulging, dipping my toes into polyamory,
Mm.
and I believe that it doesn't. I mean, I'm I'm expecting you to tell me that it works for you, and I don't think that you're going to be lying. I think that's probably true, but I
Sure.
think that it is. Um, there's a recipe for disaster, but more than that, I think that one of the core tenets that people say about polyamory is that, like, so you got one partner that doesn't provide for you in a certain way, and why would you limit yourself to that when you can get this partner does this for you, this partner does this for you? And I think that that in itself is a subversion of intimacy. I think that true intimacy comes with the lack. To accept that lack is true intimacy.
I think that well, I think that intimacy is just being open and present with somebody. Uh, that's how I would describe what I think intimacy is. I don't think.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
well, when I say intimacy, I mean intimacy of relationship. So I mean like true intimate trust and true intimate bonding is when you accept somebody for all of their traits that are good and all that are and everything bad about them, and that comes with it too. You don't, you don't cover it up. It's just this is what you are, and I want you, and this is what I got. You know,
Sure, but I think that I can accept somebody wholly for who they are. Like 100%. I see you. Um, I respect you. I care about you. I love you, and that doesn't mean that I need to that you need to be responsible for every need and desire that I have that I can't do on my own. In fact, I think it's unreasonable to put all that on a lot of people. Most of the time, people have falling outs in their relationships because their needs and desires aren't being met by their partner.
right?
And
And
I guess I don't know where the rule is that says that one person should be responsible for that.
I don't think they should. I think in monogamy,
Mhm.
one of the things that sucks about it, but is also beautiful in my opinion, in the terror is the beauty. Is the acceptance of the terror is beauty. That um, it's such a death drive kind of thing, where you see what I'm saying. Accepting the terror is the beauty. Like the lack in the person is just there. You have to accept it. And in a monogamy, you don't get the thing they lack. You can try to work on it, but say that they always say this person has like one arm
Mhm.
and you don't have someone with two arms. It means they can't give you a hand job and finger you in the butthole at the same time. You're never gonna get that. Um, I don't know. Maybe you could figure it out, but um, that's just something that you can't have, and that's life. I think life is full of those things that you can't have. I think I have a lot of things to say about raising children in the same way. It's such an imperfect. You have to accept the terror. You can't be a perfect parent. You have to just do your best. And the same thing with the monogamy. You can't be a perfect partner. You just have to do your best. And in accepting that and embracing that and just letting go, that is um the most alive you can be, in my opinion.
I guess it seems like the suggestion then is to have people unnecessary. I guess like put off their needs when it's not necessary. And I don't think that being with more than one person takes anything. It seems like you're implying that it takes something away from. Uh,
It takes the thing that sucks away. That's what
uh,
I'm saying, though. But I'm saying I hold value in that thing that sucks,
why?
because I think that being able to embrace. So this is something I think about being a parent. I think that if you think you're a good parent, you're
Mm.
you have to be afraid that you're a bad parent to be a good parent. You have to be afraid you're fucking it up to self reflect and be like, okay, I need to get this right. You know what I mean? Right? Am I right? Because you're the parent, I'm not.
Um,
What
I
is that?
think my roommate's upstairs playing video games. In
Okay,
order to make my mic sound good, it's an inevitability that will sometimes happen in the background.
that was
Um,
awesome. Okay.
I think that you should be really weary of being overly confident in how good you are as a
Yeah.
parent, for sure. I think a lot
So
of
this
people
is
do that.
my theory is about parenting. Like, so people talk about how fulfilling parenting is.
Uh,
And this is why I'm saying monogamy is fulfilling for the same, basically the same reason. I think parenting is so fulfilling because it is a state of terror. You are now responsible for another human being. You got to get this right, and you can't get it right. You're gonna fuck up, and you have to just keep going. And in your weakest moment, you have to be strong. And like, so you're that, and in that, in embracing that and allowing yourself to just flow with the terror and just stand strong and look into the abyss and keep going. That is where the fulfillment comes. That's where you're truly alive. You're truly human.
well, then why do people? I don't agree. I think
Okay,
that um,
you don't have to.
if that's the case, then why like you may be able to find some fulfillment from this, but it seems to me that most people don't want that.
I
And
know, but I do.
sure, most people don't want one to be unfulfilled, but I don't even think that the main purpose of polyamory isn't even just making sure that all of your needs are met.
Okay.
The big thing for me is to not limit the kinds of connections I can have with other people. If I meet somebody and there's like a genuine, real, true connection there, and it may be only appropriately explored through dating them or a sexual interaction with them. The idea that something is going to pop up and go, you are not allowed to have this experience. You are not allowed to explore this connection any further. Like there's just this idea that's simply there by traditional standards that has to sever like my experience in connection with this person. I think it's I have to step back and go, why is this tradition that valuable that it's going to dictate my life and the way that I can connect with others? And I know that I'll be missing out on an experience that feels important to me when I'm there and I'm experiencing it with another person. It to me, the conclusion that I've come to is that I don't care about rules that were written by people that are dead. People that came up with monogamy don't live in the world as it is today. They certainly don't know my life, and I don't need to abide by their rules when I'm not hurting anybody.
Well, I just gave you reasons that aren't arbitrary rules. You just don't agree with my value. But I do agree with what you just said. That's not something that's answered, but by what I said, the valuing the lack, the valuing the terror.
Mm-hmm.
That that's not what you just said is separate from that.
Yeah.
When you experience somebody else that you experience someone new that you have this connection with, and you're choosing to forfeit that because you've made this commitment, this arbitrary commitment to this other person, and like you're just losing out. That's a much more compelling argument to me. And yeah, that is awful. I
Oh,
agree.
thank you.
But I still value the terror. I still value the terror.
I think that that's never going to not be there. I think you could have a multitude of different partners, and when you're when you're sharing a moment with somebody, and you realize that like you're always going to notice like some flaws or some ways that like they're not exactly how you want them to be, and you can still love them for it and feel that I guess I don't experience that as terror. Like when I'm like I love my wife
It's
like fully, and I love her for her faults and her flaws. I don't see
mhm.
these things as bad. I see them as things that make her up. And to me,
Okay.
all these things come together, all the good things and all the bad things come together to create something of beauty, and that's who my wife is. This
Mhm.
like, and I don't ever see any of those things as a reason for like I want another partner. There's just the way that I guess the way that I think about and view relationships and the way that I interact with people, it just seems like if I were to only have one partner, there would just be something missing. There's something lost here. The part of it is just like simply opportunity, but part of it is like that cutting off of uh, connection, which I think is I think that a lot of people don't put any stock in because it's just not there. Like they remove it as an option ahead of time until they don't. until they decide
Hmm.
that like they need
Yeah.
to have the connection that's in front of them, and then they end up hurting people because of it. It
Hmm.
seems like to me that most people aren't actually monogamous. It seems like most people end up cheating on their partners at some point, which I think is super fucked and unfortunate because you have made, I think most of the time people make a promise to somebody that they don't really have the authority to make when they promise monogamy. I think they're saying that I promise
Right.
that I will always be able to resist the call to have a connection with another person when you don't really know if you can do that because you're not in it. When you don't have
Right.
that moment and you're not there, it's really easy to say, but you don't know how you'll feel. Uh,
Hmm.
and, and and oftentimes that feeling is so compelling that people will destroy their lives for it, which speaks a lot to me about the human condition and how people truly feel about monogamy. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think that a lot of your qualms with the arbitrary rules that are being forced on you, that you have to, forego certain human experiences just to uphold.
Hmm.
Um, I think that a lot of those are tackled with a beyond normal levels amount of communication and trust, like much beyond like I this I so one of the reasons me as I am right now, there's other reasons, and mostly the reason is that I don't have a car. That's number one. But the other reason is the reason I'm single right now is because I have really high expectations for what a relationship is going to look like for me.
Hmm.
Not of the person, but of what they're. I'm willing to do a lot for them and give a lot of myself for them, and I expect the same. And that's not something most people are ready for. But I think if you have that level of communication, um, like you don't, you're like I'm saying, you're not perfect for each other. There's flaws. Everybody has flaws, but you both know, you both know when you don't like it. You both know the flaws you see in each other. Not like everything, but I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
like
I know what you're saying.
you yes. So in that way, um, when you meet someone who doesn't, who's like you're connecting with, um, I feel like if you have that level of communication, then it becomes, well, like this. I guess then you're put in a situation where you have to do one of two things. You have to think very transactionally, or you have to think irrationally and just commitment, just stupid, irrational commitment. The transactional would be with the communication would be okay. Like this person like is really doing it for me, and you know everything about me. I know everything about you, basically, and you understand what I'm saying too. And it's sad. It would be incredibly painful to have even that discussion, and then say, well, it's not going to work because of this person. That would be the transactional route. But I think that there is something to the irrational, just love for love's sake bond.
Um,
It's like having a hand with like two fingers missing,
uh-huh.
and you're
Okay.
born with a hand with two fingers missing,
Okay.
and that's your life, right?
Yeah.
And you could, I guess this is not the best example. Like it's like
I think is what you're saying that there's something
it's like
beautiful to
having,
accepting things the way that they are.
yes, yes, and just
I agree. There absolutely is. But I think that there's also something beautiful and inspiring about thinking about the way things can be as well. And I think that's part of the human condition. It's like manifest destiny, right? We take a look at something great and we go, we can do this better. There's a better way to do this, which is how we're able to get out of like that's how we're able to like get out of the jungle and go from like using simple like wooden tools and to developing into like having buildings and airplanes and cell phones and the internet. We always have this drive to like figure out what we want and how to make it even better. But I don't think that so the idea, and a lot of people give me this idea too, is that there's something that's lost in each relationship if you have another one. And I think this might be a good time to point out that typically, not always, this has not always historically been true, but typically I practice polyamory in a triad relationship. Are you familiar with the term?
I mean, it's pretty self-evident. You probably mean three people, right?
Yeah, that are all dating each other as
Mhm.
equal partners. And there are, I would say that in the polyamory community, this is sometimes seen as like this is like the bad guy because a lot of
Sounds
people do
sounds
this in
dope
a
to
really
me.
unethical way. People do this in a really unethical way. Um, and I agree that it can be done in a really bad way that's really harmful to the person that comes into the existing relationship. There are power dynamics that must be addressed, and there must be systems put in place to protect their autonomy and to make sure that they're not going to be pressured and have their feelings dismissed or ignored and not have. So I guess I'll just break it down like it's usually like an existing couple dating another person together. Some people call it a third. Some people refer to them as a unicorn. And I don't really like any of those things. Like earlier on, we would say like
Yeah.
our girlfriend, and I don't like that either. Because then it seems like there's like a two and a one. The way that
Yeah.
I imagine
Okay.
that it works is that there's more than just one relationship happening. There's like A to B, B to C, C to A, and then there's
Mhm.
everybody together as a whole. These are the different dynamics that are happening.
When I hear you describe that, it's pretty clear to me. Like what you're describing is the normal levels of power imbalance that exist within relationships is now heightened the potential because there's three. So with three people, the power imbalances are way more complex and way more powerful. Like it's just so in a healthy relationship, I believe this is not what everybody believes. So I believe that you should have a healthy egalitarian relationship. I very passionately believe this. I never shut up about it. That you should switch roles with each other, sort of. You should not have one person being the baby all the time. In like monogamous relationship, like, we don't have one person doing everything for the other person, like a slave, and then one person being the baby. And so it's really hard for people to learn how to do both and be taken care of and take care of somebody. And um, those skills are hard. And I think to have that three-way, so that means you're gonna have to have one person being the baby, and then two people taking care of them, and then that changes, and that's just way more to navigate, right?
Um, Actually, I think that when you're saying being the baby is that somebody needs to have their feelings taken care of.
Yeah, maybe not even feelings. It could be something other than feelings, but feelings is the best example. I think like it could be like help doing a thing, and the others two are helping, but like
Yeah.
generally, like yeah, just
Well,
being
and
taken
then
care of.
you know too that sometimes it's emotionally hard to take care of somebody else's feelings. Yeah.
Hmm.
One of the nice things
And that means
about being
you have two
in the
people do
kind
it.
of well, not only
Sorry.
that too, you do have two people to take care of your feelings, but also so like the other day, my girlfriend had a really really bad morning. Um, Her phone was off, um, and she got into a fight with her dad, and she had pointed some of those negative feelings at me when I hadn't done anything. And she had also pointed some of those feelings at my wife. She hadn't done anything. I think that it would have been a lot harder to respond with love rather than fighting and arguing because my feelings were hurt if I didn't have my wife to lean on during that. And I think the same goes for my wife. We were able to confer our soreness with that exchange with each other and kind of help each other out so that we could both be there to take care of her when she was obviously in need of extra love because she was going through something difficult. I know a lot of times when you're with somebody and you get targeted by raw feelings that aren't about you, it's very hard to not feel like they're about you and then respond in turn. I think it's a really good example of the strength that there is in the kind of relationship that we have.
Mhm.
Because I've definitely been in situations where I'm with somebody and they're angry about something that I didn't do, and they pick a fight with me, and I didn't do anything. So like, I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't even fucking do anything. I'm ready to fight now. Like, what are you being shitty to me for? I didn't do a damn thing. This that
Mhm.
very raw emotional response to it. But knowing that since my feelings are hurt right now, that I still have somebody who can help me out. I still have somebody that I can lean on. That's huge for me. Because I know that if I'm just with one person and they hurt my feelings and they're the person that I go to when my feelings are hurt, I have nobody then. I can't go like, hey, I understand you're mad and you're hurting my feelings, but like, can you take care of me right now? I need you to take care of me while you're
Okay,
pissed off.
that's interesting. So it's not that what I described was having two people are always the caretakers and one person's being taken care of, but what you're saying is it's a flow,
Yeah,
a
it's
circular flow.
yeah. I always
And
say it like
what
this, like we're all a team. We're a team and we're all looking out for each other all the time.
that sounds, I mean, I hadn't imagined that. I haven't done that. Um, then you're saying it works.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's ups and downs like all relationships. The one so I'm not really big on rules. A lot of like the thing that makes the kind of relationship is like unethical is people say like, well, you can't do this. A good example that a lot of people do, call people that do what I do maliciously unicorn hunters. That's the phrase that the community has given to them. And one of the things they'll do is that like they'll tell the person that's coming into the existing relationship like you can't have sex with anybody outside of us, but we can have sex without you. That kind of thing. They'll put like rules on the person. I don't do rules at all. I do boundaries. And I explain the difference is I'll never say you can't do something, but I'll say I don't want to do something. That's the difference. And also too, I've never said like we're the only relationship that you can have either. These are I think
Mhm.
these are really important things that whether that the triad is open or closed should be up to the person that wasn't in the existing relationship when the new relationship starts. I think that's super
Interesting.
important too. Yeah, I think the best way to keep it ethical is to grant some extra power in decision making in the beginning. The one hard rule that I have for myself, it's a boundary that I suggest to everybody else, is that if one of us has a problem with another person, I don't think that that problem should just be shared to only the other. Like, if A has a problem with B, A should not go and vent their frustrations out about it to person C. It can happen with everybody all together, or A should talk to C directly or B directly.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay.
you shouldn't talk about you shouldn't talk shit behind each other's back is essentially what it amounts to, because I think that's
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was worried about
bad.
before. Yeah. That I
And
was.
everybody agreed to that.
I'm sort of the opposite. I fucking I have a sick fascination with rules. Rules, but rules that are always meant to be broken. Um, but
That's
I
funny.
love those. I love those rules. Like I need to know somebody can advocate for themselves, and um, I mean, I'm just thinking like sexually. I just get off on rules. I like making up systems of rules.
Um, Well, that's a whole
Well,
different
thank you.
fucking thing. Yeah, that was my wife. She came by. I think my headphones are on, so I didn't hear that. Well, she said she liked your background.
Yeah, I like his
Yeah,
lighting.
Yeah, the lighting is
thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Um, yeah. Well, if we're talking about sexual things, like yeah, rules can be good and smart, and I understand the allure of simulating rules as well. I think is what you're getting
Power
at.
exchange. Power exchanges.
Oh yeah, like TPE.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am familiar. Uh, yeah, I think that most of the time, in my experience, most people that are poly are also, at least to some degree, involved in like BDSM.
I understood that immediately when you were talking earlier, just a while ago. I was like, okay, that's why I was bringing this up.
Yeah, it's pretty common. It's not like I don't think I wouldn't like I would never say something like I wouldn't ever be in a relationship with somebody who wasn't interested in BDSM. Like I don't have like that level of need for it, but like
Mhm,
it's cool. I can accommodate for sure.
mhm.
Although I guess the only thing that I could say about it is that it seems like for me, I don't think I've ever been not the dom in any relationship I've ever been in. And even in this case too, like my wife and my girlfriend, they're both very submissive. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I don't necessarily need to be a submissive person. I have played the role long enough in my life to where I have it down packed pretty well.
Mhm.
Um, and
Okay.
I guess if you want to, we can talk about like the sexual elements of being polyamorous because I think a lot of people. I don't think I know a lot of people think that it's like a thing that's all about sex. Um,
No, I was gonna sort of mesh that in and talk about some like experiences I've had, and a common experience that kind of replays itself with polyamory.
okay, go for it.
So, so the thing is that I got a hint of what you were saying. I think it often will start in a sexual way, which most relationships do start in sexual way, right? Usually, I mean, probably there's cases
It will
where it wouldn't,
it will
but
start in a sexual way.
yeah, when you're inviting someone in, sort of, it might at some point the sexual wall
I
is
mean,
breached,
I was gonna
and
say
at
there's
that
always a
point, it's
sexual element, but it usually starts with a date.
okay. Well, yeah, but the date is for the sex, and
Huh.
the sex is because the sex. Okay, well, I just see the sex as the pinnacle of intimacy, and once you've reached the sex, is now you've been the most intimate, like that. You've tested the waters at that point. Like it. You've dipped your toes into to the intimacy with this person. I feel like that's where it all leads up to. I'm really quick to
Interesting.
have sex. Um,
I think I'm about as quick as I don't have like I don't have a timer set, but
no, I don't have a timer. Sometimes I hold out intentionally. Um,
yeah, I
but
never try to make a move on the first date unless
I
it's
never
like
try.
super obvious, like being thrown at me, or like there's a like an explicit conversation ahead of time that this is what's going to happen. I usually try not to because I think it's important to show that like I don't ever want to if I'm willing to go on a date with somebody, then I'm interested in more than just sex with them, and I think it's important to like make that apparent.
I don't have that. I don't have that, but I do what you do anyway sometimes. So a lot of times, it's something I've often done is like, well, I'll describe what my process is, but something I do a lot is I'll tell somebody that, okay, like we we could easily end up fucking tonight. Let's wait till next time.
Oh,
That
gotcha,
also
gotcha.
like takes the pressure off, and it's kind of like it also makes it more suspenseful. I kind of like that. Um, but for me, when I'm going on a date and meeting somebody, it's not that I'm just thinking about sex the whole time. That's not it. It's I'm thinking about them, and I'm testing my the waters of being intimate with them. I'm trying to be close with them. It's a date. You're bonding with someone. You're sharing experiences, and you get more and more intimate. and the more intimate, the more successful it is, because that's what you want. And I just see like that just leads to sex for me without um like it always comes to a boil, and that boil is fucking. And
Interesting.
yeah.
You know, it's funny.
Wait,
I
I could give an example. Oh, sorry, I'll let you say that. Sorry.
Okay. I actually called into Not So Erudite's show she was doing about dating because there was a woman that wanted to meet me. Like, we matched on a dating site, and she was like, "Hey, or she got my number, and she was like, let's meet at like this local bar." And I was like, that seems really fast for me. And I was like a little put off by it. And then she just like started like calling my phone. I was like, whoa, whoa, can't we text for like a minute? I'd like to like I want to see if I even like you to any degree before I talk on the phone with you.
Hmm.
Just because I have a little bit of phone anxiety, I'd say. Just in general, if I don't know a person, I'd rather just sort of feel them out first. And they were like, no, I don't want to text. Like, we can just meet. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. And it was kind of freaking me out. And I said was like, when I called in, I was like, do you think I'm crazy for doing this? And they were like, yeah, that's kind of crazy to like not be wanting to like go meet. I was like, it was pretty clear this person just wanted to hook up, and I want to know who I'm hooking up with. So like, I think that I'm usually looking for something that's not just sex. I very much want
Well,
like a real connection.
I could reframe everything you just said, because I'm the other person. I'm the
Yeah.
person that I'm the nightmare. I'm the one that okay, but it's not just sex though. I just want to meet up because I believe, and it's okay if you're not like me in this way. Like I'm not going to argue with you. Like everybody's different. I believe that the person that you are in text is a your best representative, and
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I don't like it. Even on the phone is a little bit better, but I want to be face to face, and I want you to have to look at me when you're talking to me, and I want to have to look at you when I'm talking to you face to face, you know, breathing next to each other. And so I feel like that's the best way to actually get to notice someone. And I think it's because my process is just so fixated on intimacy in itself, and it does lead to sex, but it's not because I'm trying to get fucked. I don't actually enjoy sex that much.
Oh,
i
I do.
just i, I just enjoy the intimacy. I enjoy the intimacy. I don't enjoy the fucking is something I don't really like. um but I enjoy getting like so often actually. Like if I was in a court of law, you could say it's not sex most of the time, because like I mean it just ends up like getting like it just start getting close. So we start like watching a movie and we're like touching or something like that. Like I remember one day I mentioned it in a video I made. Um, we ended up going to a park and it was snowing out, so the whole park was like covered in snow, but it was like a pretty place, and I had a bunch of blankets in my trunk. So we've been bonding, we'd like been holding hands in the car, been close. So I was like, if we could just wrap ourselves into a burrito under the blankets and like look over the overlook, and we just cuddled in there for a while. And then then it keeps ramping up in intimacy, one thing to another. Eventually you're naked, but it doesn't always like lead to like fucking, like, but like, you're like massaging each other, you're, like exploring each other, you know tasting each other, sniffing each other, and
Uh, yeah, I understand this.
yeah,
Like
yeah, of
I'm no
course.
stranger to like the build up and all that, and I like that too. Usually before I meet somebody though, like ideas about sex and sexual boundaries are discussed pretty well up front, because I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm like dating somebody and I really like them and find out that we're completely incompatible. And I also, if something were to happen on the first date, it's like, wow, this is definitely a moment. I'm not gonna like deny it. I don't want to accidentally cross a line or feel like I don't know what to do. And it
I
also gives me a pretty good
um
indication this person's comfortable with themselves sexually too, if they're able to talk about it. The
I also kind
time.
of don't trust the representatives, um like what they're even saying that their boundaries are in the text before you meet someone, because I feel like once you meet someone, your boundaries are now different as soon as you're interacting. Um,
Yeah,
s-
if somebody tells me they want me to be like really, really like physically aggressive, I'll say like, well, look, it's gonna be well, at least my version of quite vanilla at first, and it's something I slowly ramp into because I don't care how tough you say you are.
mhm.
I'm
if we,
not gonna cross a line by mistake.
if me and you went on a date, we would fuck on the first date. I guarantee it. Okay, no, because you're the person that's gonna be telling me you have all the. I'm not. I'm not a person that crosses boundaries. That's not what I'm
Sure.
saying. But I'm saying that you're going to tell me up front that these are all my boundaries and I'm going to respect those. And then when we're going to go on the date, when at every single interval, I'm going to make sure that you're comfortable. And I'm going to be like, like double checking, like I'm making sure we're in touch and everything. And then like it's, I think that process, um, like I don't think it works so much like an RPG.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. But I still think it's good to get a baseline of like things that they're into. I think it's very
Yeah,
good for
yeah,
getting a baseline. I don't think that this is going to be the gold
yeah.
standard. I'm still going to. I also like. I'm like the guy who does the thing that people are like nobody does that. I ask for consent before I touch like before I hold a hand for the first time. I practice like threshold consent. I ask before the first time that I do any given thing. Like before I hold a woman's hand for the first time, I'll ask if it's okay. Before I give them a kiss for the first time, I'll ask if it's okay. And I've never had anything negative ever happen for that. In fact, it seems to have like quote unquote scored me a lot of points, although that's not really how I would like say it. It's just
Mhm.
colloquially like a good way to explain like what happens when it happens. That's not why I do it. I do it to probably to some degree. It's just so I don't get my feelings hurt, but also it's immense consideration for the other person. But I'm not going to deny the
Interesting.
fact that it does protect me from like getting my feelings hurt and like misreading the situation and having to be like, oh God, like what was I thinking for like the next like 5 years of my life replaying it before I go to bed.
This is more my experience. With something like it depends how risky it is. So like often I don't know. Like if we are like in a burrito blanket,
Yeah.
then the kiss isn't gonna be the kind of kiss where it's like, can I kiss you? It might just be like we're really close, and it's like I go for like a kiss on the cheek, and then I just look at them, and it's like that was not okay. Okay, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm sorry. Um, but usually that's pretty rare. I'm pretty good at knowing. But I guess maybe I'm a cheek thief. But
I think that there's
I don't
definitely
know.
something to like reading people's body language and things like that. I don't think that that's something people can't do. Like I'm not like an insane person when it comes to like consent. I understand that most of the time consent is nonverbal. It just works out really a lot better for me. That way I don't have to worry about it. Um,
Right. Oh, well, I'm saying that that's not what I was trying to say about reading body language. What I was trying to say is that um, you can tell me I'm wrong,
mhm.
and you know what? You're an older man than me. You've had more experience. You know what? If you tell me I'm wrong, I will take it. I will internalize it. I
Sure.
won't necessarily completely change myself, but um, so I think there's something like to holding hands. I'm comfortable like just like going for the hand and then looking at them and being like, is this okay? And then if they say no, then I respect that and I show them that I'm respecting that. But I feel like it's okay to test the waters with actually reaching for the hand.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to do that. It's just not it's outside of my personal comfort zone. And I am very aware. I have heard women make the statement that if a guy asks, I won't want anything to do with them because it shows like a lack of confidence. And
Sounds like you've got mileage in the other way too, though, right? It's not just
uh,
a negative.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've had nothing but positive experience, but I've heard women say that like if a guy asks, like then I don't want anything to do with it. It just seems like the kind of women that I choose to date do really like that. Um, I usually don't ask out women that are like super aggressive. Not that I think that you'd have to be super aggressive, but I think that you're probably going to be more likely to get turned down by a woman who's a pretty aggressive person if you ask if you can like hold their hand. I am also kind of like a cheesy romantic kind of person too, so I think it plays into that a bit.
There's another experience that happens a lot though. Um, and so like you reach to the hand and you look at them and you know make sure it's okay, and then they get weird and they don't say it's not okay, and then you don't know, and when that happens, I fucking stop. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do shit with you. uh, so
Well, yeah, my way
that's
definitely
another
avoids
thing.
that.
Yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind if you're talking. How did we even get here?
It's the nature of the beast, man.
Yeah.
I do think that what you were saying was interesting, though. I think a lot of people experience that. But if you wanna turn tides here and get a little bit more into polyamory, I don't know. Have I moved you at all on? You said you. I remember
Hmm.
when we first talked about it. You said you think it's bad. It
Okay,
seems
I
like you've gotten a
forgot.
little bit more insight.
Okay, I forgot. I was gonna tell you this reoccurring thing. Okay, so when I was more of a like a femboy,
Hmm.
I would always end up with these poly relationships. It was often, um, I've said this before. It was often women that like usually considered themselves lesbian, except they saw me and they liked me. Um, and I think that they just were straight, but they like hated men. That's my synopsis of the situation of this type. And that shows in the fact that when I'm introduced to the relationship, suddenly their prior relationship with another woman isn't so fulfilling. And then it just crumbles and there's like, and I'm not even necessarily directly involved. It just collapses, and then I'm out of there. Because once that collapses, it's like, well, like I don't know how I feel about being with you now because like I just fucked up my like relationship I was in for 2.5 years, for 3 years, you know, and just because like being with you like woke something up in me, and that genuinely me waking something up in somebody has
Hmm.
happened a lot, and then ruining their relationship and then leaving because it couldn't work out, and it would be weird for me too, like so that has happened to me like 4 or 5 times.
So what you're saying is that you dated a polyamorous woman who found an interest in you despite the fact that they had historically only preferred women,
Mm-hmm.
and then they no longer wanted to be with the woman they were with afterwards.
Actually, I'm conflating two things. I've had a lot of
Okay.
experiences with this lesbian type, but
Okay.
not all of those were poly. A lot of the poly relationships are I'm conflating memories. There is one that was lesbian, and there I think there might have been another that was lesbian, and there are multiple that were not lesbian. They were straight women. But regardless, in all these situations, I come in and somehow I awaken something in them just by being part of their relationship. And usually it'll come with because of the poly thing, they've got like certain like rules and like boundaries like from the other partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so like then they're with me and then they're like awakened in a certain way and they like questioning the value that they place on those rules and boundaries that they get from the other partner, and because they're so into me in the moment, and then it just their relationship ends, they start fighting, it crumbles down, and most of what they were feeling for me may have just been passionate, or maybe they're just unable to move forward with me more because I've destroyed their relationship by being introduced, and then that's the end of it. So
So it could very much be. I don't know these people. Um, I can only speculate. So that's what I'm going to do. It could very much be the case that they realized that they don't like having these kinds of rules put on them. And you are very much a symbol for like these rules being broken. As a polyamorous person, I
mhm.
think that rules put on other partners is pretty unethical. If you're saying that this is something that is okay to do, it's okay to be this way, It's okay to practice non-monogamy. We also have to have it done in an ethical way. I don't think that you can tell somebody, okay, you're free to date other people, but I need you to do this, and this, and this, and this. Like, all you're doing, they're just still dating you. Like they're
Okay,
pulling all of the strings here.
I'm putting a lot of emphasis on rules.
Yeah.
So one story in particular, there was only one rule. It was I can't come inside her. And knowing me, I don't even like fucking. So it's
Mhm.
easy win for me. But that rule was there, and I was like, what? Why? Because I mean, I felt like you, like it's like weird. Like I guess there's risk of like STDs and stuff. That makes
Sure.
sense. And you know, the fluid bonding thing or whatever. Um, and yeah, so that exists, but in general, so like this, there was not like rules, but like check in. Like, this person was like staying with me, and like for like a week, it ended up being that way. And they would call their boyfriend and check in, and like I made me feel weird, and it also felt like an obligation, and it was also like taking away from what we were doing, sort of. And it just like things just didn't. It just got weird,
Mhm.
and
Uh,
they fight and then break up.
well, I think that polyamory is not for everybody, but I think that it would be for more people if we didn't place such a high emphasis on monogamy. I think that so what monogamy is one of the very few things that aren't questioned at all in our society. There's like a small handful of things that nobody ever really questions, and I would say like monogamy is like up there with money. Like nobody ever really questions like money, how it works, and like why we need it and all that. I would say it's like at that level. People just accept that that's how things are supposed to be. So I think that a lot of your ideas, inevitably, a lot of people's ideas about relationships and how they're supposed to operate and function are based on the idea of monogamy. I don't think that it's. I would say for a lot of people, it's an almost impossible thing to divorce from your mind. I've had people say to me too. That they've been poly for like however long. I'm like, oh, what made you decide to be like that? Like, I didn't even know that it was an option before. So when you think about relationships and you develop your ideas about like what is and isn't acceptable, like what you're looking for and what you want, it's almost always going to be put through this frame of monogamy, because that's like how many romance movies are about monogamy? Basically all of them. There might be a couple polyamorous movies out there, but I think that it's not like the craziest thing in the world to just say it's all of them, because like there's such a high degree amount of them. Like they have the market. It's not even considered. Um,
I I want to give somebody so much. It would be impossible for me to give them that much if I was giving it to more than one person. Like it would be to what I couldn't.
Interesting.
I could never be the partner I am in a monogamous relationship, that I would be in a poly relationship.
Um, that may very well be true. I've always thought of it like I don't have there's like not like a love tank inside of my heart that decides like you only have so much love that you can give. I think that uh it's like a non-ending resource. And when uh so like and I also don't think that I've never loved two people the same way. I've never loved like I have a dog that I've raised since a puppy, and people used to joke that I loved my dog more than I loved my kid and my wife. Um, and it's not true,
Mhm,
but I love them differently.
mhm.
I've been in love with a good handful of women throughout my life. I've been married twice, and I don't think I've loved any of them the same way either. But when I love somebody, or in the case of like my animals, something, the most that I can love, like I'm at maximum love, that's just what it is. That means that like I would do anything for this person. Um,
Right.
I want them to be happy, prioritized over my own happiness. And I don't think that me doing that for one person means that I can't do it for another person. Now, It may
That's
very
not
well
what
be
I'm
the
saying
case
though.
that that other people couldn't do that.
Wait, that's not what I'm saying exactly.
Okay.
I love a lot of people, um, and it only grows. I only love more people. It just keeps growing. But um, I can't let like say I love you. We're talking. I'm bonding with you. I'm loving you.
Hmm.
I have commitments in my life and stuff. Like I can't actually be there for you. I only have so much time and like mental energy, like not emotional energy, but mental like energy and like you know
Yeah.
physical endurance. Yeah.
There's actually like a
So
joke in the poly community that polyamorous people are just regular people with a scheduling fetish,
hmm,
which is why I laughed when you said I only have so much time.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's like the meme of the poly community.
Okay, I have a perfect scenario to explore then. How do you feel about when this is the meme in the fucking movies? We all know it to be true. It's something that happens when a parent have a kid, the kid's like 5, and then they get another kid. And
Mhm.
that kid they hate the new kid because that new kid takes up the attention and the time from them. And they're jealous and their parents are not paying as much attention to them.
Mhm.
They're not getting as much parent attention. So isn't that similarly the case with polyamory?
So there's this is actually a really good point. There's a couple things that happen here. One is that like let's say my wife got a partner that like just she was with. I know that in the beginning I would give her extra time. I would feel less demanding of her time because I know that's something that she needs to explore like a little bit more fully. Like we have done our exploring with one another, and I want to give her extra time to sort of like develop and like feel out her relationship. So I would say that like I would give a little bit more extra priority there, but also too like in any situation that you're gonna be in, there's gonna be some kind of opportunity cost. Like if you do something, you're not gonna be able to do something else at the exact same time. So yeah, I think that in monogamous and polyamorous relationships, jealousy does come up. It's a thing that happens, but I'm a very firm believer that while jealousy is a natural emotion, it is as as a whole on society, we have placed so much value on this emotion to like an extraordinarily unhealthy degree. Like when somebody's jealous, like if somebody gets jealous, like in media, we'll see somebody like throwing bricks through people's windows. They'll do like really atrocious things that we would never accept, and people will cheer them on. I think that jealousy is often a justification for doing whatever you feel like doing to remedy that feeling. And a lot of times, what people want to do is they want to put it on the other person, say, "You're making me feel jealous. I need you to fix it. It's your responsibility to fix my feelings right now." And I don't think that's what it is. I think that jealousy is something you can talk about with somebody. It's something that you can express and share, and that's fine and it's healthy. But the problem comes up where we expect other people to fix something that's inside of us for us.
Now, hold on. Okay, you're saying jealousy. I don't agree. That's not the right word here because
Well,
I think
that's
jealousy
comes
applies.
up.
Wait, hold on. You can tell me I'm wrong, but I might not be wrong.
Okay.
I think jealousy applies to more things than what you're describing. Jealousy can apply to maybe I'm jealous of your polyamorous relationship. Maybe I think it's great and I'm jealous, but that's not what we're talking about here. I think what we're talking about is jealousy that exists when paired with loss. So loss of like amount of attention. So say someone there's a new person involved. Now I'm getting less attention. So it's not just that I'm jealous of their thing. It's that I'm actually getting less of my thing. So it's not just jealousy. It's jealousy that comes with loss. Because
Sure.
if I'm jealous of your relationship, I haven't lost anything.
If I'm jealous of a relationship, I haven't lost anything. Sure. But I think that
But if
jealousy to any degree, I don't think it's up to the other person to fix. Like what if I just chose to what if I chose to go out and play Magic instead of hanging out with my one of my partners? They're gonna lose that time with me. Does that mean that I need to like that I've done something wrong? That I need to not do the thing that I was going to do, so that way they don't feel bad that I went and played Magic.
I feel like there's a certain level um of care you need to give somebody, and maybe some people are very needy, and some people are less needy. Um, and so like needy means you got needs. Maybe you should learn to have less needs, but you're not getting what your needs met. So
Um, I don't think that it's our responsibility to meet our partner's needs at all times.
mm,
I think that if you do that, you're setting yourself up not only for failure, but you're setting yourself up so that your needs aren't going to get met too. I think it's important to have a balance.
okay, but like so with the D&D example, um let's say you have sex 4 times a week or something. It's like great, whatever. Or maybe okay, let's make more realistic because I have sex once a week. Okay, and because I know that's what people say they do. And then you're going to D&D on that day you had sex, though, or like
Mhm.
so that's not just like you're responsible for being there for them at all times. It's like no, that's actually you're taking away like a big thing, you know. It's like there's levels, there's quantities to it, and magnitudes.
Sure. Um, yeah, I think that it's okay to take that as it goes. Like I think it's if I'm in a situation where somebody that I'm with isn't having their needs met, I think I'm going to assess this and go, okay, is there a way that I can do this? Like I think it kind of like you kind of prioritize here. Go, okay, so with what's going on right now, is there something that I can change? Can I like for the example that I gave, can I just not go to Magic today and then I can like go and play on Friday instead? Is like how important is it that I play today? Is there like a large event or something? Can I go and do this on a different day? Also, like if one of my partners needs something at the same time as the other one, I can talk to them because they're both like people and they both care about me. They both care about each other. And we're going to try to find a compromise that's going to work for all people. The same as if it was in a monogamous relationship, you're going to try to figure out a way to where something can happen that's going to work out really well for all parties involved. At least that's the way that I think that we should operate in any relationship. And I don't think that this is like like that this isn't something that's unique to polyamory.
So what if it's a scenario like um I'm getting less okay, what if it's a scenario like someone discovers a new kink in your relationship and it involves your dick being hard and you can't be always be hard and now the other person that you're them exploring that is taking away from the other person um the dick hardness quantity.
Uh,
That's this has to have happened. I mean, you don't have to like go into like, but that just sounds like a very
it
something that would
hasn't
happen.
happened. No, because like,
No,
well,
okay,
like
okay.
I have sex with both partners at the same time a lot. I also have
Oh,
sex with them individually a lot. So it's not really something that's as common as you might think, but I understand why you might think that.
mhm.
It makes sense. But yeah, I would just say like if one person has sexual needs when the other person does too, I could just be like, oh, all right, why don't we just like then
Okay.
today's the day that I guess like, today we're just all gonna do it at the same time, which is pretty normal in my life. Because like you said, like currently I have a girlfriend and I have a wife, and my wife and my girlfriend are also dating each other.
Mhm.
So like and you know, sometimes they have sex with each other that I'm not a part of too, and I'm always really happy for them when they do that. Like it's always like, yeah, way to go. Kind of like you would expect. I guess it's not that too dissimilar to like when you're younger and one of your friends is like, I got laid. You're like, hey, that's what's up. Like you know, you're like happy for them. I'm happy for them. I also one of the things that I would be really, really sad if I didn't talk about is compresion. It's an emotion that is primarily associated with polyamory. I get a lot of happiness seeing a person that I'm in love with being taken care of uh, emotionally by somebody else. Like it makes me feel really
This
good to know that I can count on somebody else to be there for either of them.
okay. This is some okay. That sounds beautiful, but I'm gonna say something awful.
Sure.
That sounds like something. So I am admittedly a fucking pervert, and I've
Yeah.
explored every fucking kink. And when I fantasize about cuckold, that's so fucking funny. When I fantasize about cuckold kinks,
Yeah.
that is what I think about. That is the most like I don't think
I
I
knew
would
what was
enjoy that in
coming.
real life. I
I
don't
knew what
I
was
don't think
coming.
I don't I knew like I mean, but I'm being honest. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm saying this about myself. If I'm having a cuckold fantasy, that is what I think about. I'm like, oh well, I'm just happy like let me like fluff your dick so that you can fuck her, you know, like because I just want her to get fucked because like that's it just makes you so happy. That that's that is I think at the core of the cuckold fantasy if it's going to work. I don't think I would want to do that person, but just full disclosure, um, but I've had every fantasy and that that so what do you have to say about that? Okay.
So
Let
it's
me
it's
stop talking about it.
so a lot of times it's associated with that. Yeah, people make like that joke or that comment or whatever. It doesn't really bother me. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. When it's like my best friend, whenever I would mention anything involving polyamory, he would always send me this GIF or a picture of it. I don't know. Do you not have my stream pulled up? Do you?
No, I don't. Oh,
Oh
you can
yeah.
swap your virtual camera. You swap the sorts, yeah. Then I'll see it.
Okay.
It'll look messed up on my stream. Oh, I'll just do this. Hold on. They'll see it on my stream too.
Let me see here. Oh wait, yeah, scene. There you go. It's not the Morty, but Jerry's dad. He would always send that to me every time.
Yeah.
Uh he doesn't anymore, not because I told him to stop or anything, but like he like more or less like he wore it out. But I understand the idea, but like it's not I guess I don't really think of it in that way. I just think of I love my wife a lot, and it feels fantastic to know that like somebody else has her back too.
There's
I
nothing wrong with that. We
and
shouldn't have to feel like there's something wrong with that.
like I remember I think I was like cooking or something, and I came out with my food, and they were both on the couch watching something on the TV, and just like cuddling, and I could see how happy both of them were. That's an extremely fulfilling emotion for me.
Hmm.
I think that's like it's one of my favorite emotions. It just feels good on a it's very hard to express like how that feels, but like I love it. I love knowing that
I've explored it. I've explored it.
but there's nothing about that specific feeling that I think is inherently sexual. Although it can be too. Like it doesn't like it's not like
Hmm.
it
Yeah, yeah,
ends it's not like it ends at the bedroom either.
yeah.
I think that a lot of people have been in like a like air quotes polyamorous relationship, but not really. I think that they've had like they've attempted it and didn't really know how to like navigate it or like what like the rules are or anything like that, or like they try to make rules and it didn't go good for them, things like that. But I think that what polyamory really is it's about openness, it's about honesty. You have to be honest with yourself, you have to be honest with the people that you're with, and they also have to be open and honest about like what they want and how they feel. And I think that's the harder thing to land is having the kind of communication that it requires, having the kind of honesty it requires, and having the kind of self-reflection it takes to uh, be as honest as you have to be to make things work.
Also, it sounds like the kind of just like pure compassion.
Yeah, you do. I think that it does take a healthy degree of compassion, and I think that maybe something that other people struggle with is that really think that you have to care about the people that you're with and their emotional needs on par with your own.
Mhm.
You know, interesting, Tuna. Made a lot of comments about cuckoldry when that came up. Uh, so it seems about it. It seems to be about power, about drive. I think it's about letting go.
Yeah.
I think it's about letting go of power. I think it's about knowing that I don't have to do anything at all, and I know that my wife and my girlfriend are happy. I think there's like a part of me in the back of my brain too that is always like at ease knowing that if something happened to me, that I don't have to worry about her being alone and having nobody to like be there for her too. That's like always something that sort of pops up. Like I don't like thinking about it because I don't like thinking about like being dead, but it's a pretty good comfort to know that like no matter what, there's somebody there for her. And actually, when I was in the hospital, you may have heard that I had a bad experience with a vasectomy and ended up in the hospital with like a massive infection. And
Okay.
when they took me to the hospital, like it was time for them to go, and it was really nice to know that neither of them were just going to be alone dealing with the fact that their boyfriend or husband in this situation was like in the hospital, and like it's scary and it's worrying, but they had each other to be there for each other, and I'm really grateful for that. Because like fuck, I can imagine if I had to drop one of them off at the hospital, I just go home alone. Like how the fuck am I going to get any sleep? How am I going to relax?
It's a letting go. It's a letting go because it takes the burden off of you, right?
Yeah, it's about letting
Because
go, and I think there's something empowering about seeing somebody you care about being made happy. And we usually like to be the ones to do that, but it can be nice when you're not too. Full disclosure, though, I did talk to my therapist about have going out with me. She seems to think that I have like an extremely low capacity for jealousy. Like I don't think it seems like I don't experience jealousy the same way most people do, which maybe sets me up to be in a really good position to feel the way that I do. Because like I would describe it as like it's rare, and when it is, it's like a bee sting. But people act like it's like a nuclear bomb being dropped from orbit on them.
this is the way I would describe it. It's like you know that you're not enough of a. Okay, never mind. I'm never mind. You
Ooh.
said too many beautiful. No. I was gonna go into detail about the cuckold thing, but you said okay. Now that you're laughing, we've created a page break. Okay, that's a
Okay,
page break.
sure.
Okay, okay, because I don't want to like insult you. You know, and just I'm just okay because I actually can empathize with you like from like my personal research. So
Hmm.
uh it's like you're not gonna be you're not enough of a man to please this woman, so you're just happy you get a real man, and you know what you got, you got, you can settle for uh for scraps or whatever, and that's what you get, and you know what you get. um
I think
okay,
that's
now
what
that I've
cuckoldry
ruined.
is.
Yes, that is what cult
But
culture is.
that's definitely not what I experience at all.
Okay.
Um, I do I do think that it's at least a good idea for me to say that if anybody thinks about wanting to have a polyamorous relationship and they're in one in a monogamous relationship, it's keep in mind that this isn't the standard for a lot of people, and that if you bring it up to your partner, you are risking the chance that they will leave you because you say this. There is often feelings, people will feel like they're not enough. I have a hard time really understanding like what that means when I hear something like that said. Uh, Tuna said jealousy is the world's most childish emotion for bugs wearing human skin. Um, yeah, people will feel like they're not enough, which I guess the best thing that I can figure is that they have an expectation that they are the only thing that you need to be happy and feel fulfilled. But like that's we don't even I think that almost everybody would say that like expecting your partner even if you're monogamous to do everything that you need is bad for them. Like you shouldn't put all of your like life's happiness and expectations on a person. Like a lot of that responsibility is up to you. You should be making your own happiness, you should be making your own fulfillment, and it shouldn't be up to another person to determine whether or not you're going to be happy or fulfilled. So I think
Okay,
it's really
I have
similar
a
with
question for you.
polyamory. Yeah.
I have a question. So how do you know in assessing partners, how do you know someone else is ready for that?
Well, I was
So
lucky enough that my wife
say
brought it up
you're
to me.
talking to you. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So all right.
I think
So
that
you if
the
you were talking
intentionality
to like
is
a
oh, go ahead, go ahead, go
if
ahead.
you were talking to a younger version of yourself that wanted that and was like you don't have the jealousy, you know that that'd be good for you, what would you say to that person, like, and how to like achieve that, or how to seek that out, how to tell who?
Uh I think that knowing how I am and how I feel about it, I think that my recommendation be to find somebody that you know in advance is okay with it. Just say that you're polyamorous at the beginning of the relationship, so that way they know what to expect. I think it's a lot harder for somebody who doesn't know, and then you figure it out, and then you have now there's like a new expectation that they have to meet and they have to get comfortable with after the fact. I was just really lucky that my wife it was like her idea, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't say anything about it prior, just because I wasn't unhappy with her, and I didn't want to risk our relationship by saying anything about it. It was it didn't feel great to not say anything about it, but it was just sort of like a cost benefit analysis that I ran on my own, and it was just like I don't want to risk the relationship that I have with my wife, so I'm just not going to talk about this thing. But
um
it ended up being I was just it was sort of like wow, if there was like if there was any way that I could have been like given a sign that this is absolutely like where I'm supposed to be, like that the woman at the time I was engaged to is like the best fit for me, like holy shit, like this is it. Because that means I don't have to like even uh pretend to be anything other than exactly what I am. Like I don't have to like settle and just say like okay, I'm just gonna live a monogamous life. Uh it was like a revelation. It was very, very cool. And
just remembered another way I've hurt people that are in polyamorous relationships. I've entered into polyamorous relationships, and then not had them break up or anything. It's just like I enter into it, and then I like start dating someone else, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm done because I don't really actually want to be in a poly. It's just settling for me. So then I find someone else, and then they're sad that I would do that.
wait, can you say that over again?
So I enter into a relationship with someone that's poly. I'll express that like I'm kind of settling, but I'm okay with it. I'm not in a relationship. I'm getting something I want. It's and I'm like enjoying it, and then go on like one date with someone else, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then even if that date doesn't even work out, like it's just like I don't even want to risk it. I'm done. It's over, and then the date doesn't. Then the second date doesn't really work out, but it's like I'm just
So what you're saying is the thing that you've done is you dated somebody who's polyamorous and then you're just not interested in them anymore?
I just dated I dated somebody that was polyamorous. It was actually great. Um,
Okay.
great dynamic. And for like 3 months, I went on one Tinder date with someone else,
Uh,
and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And then the second Tinder date with the same person didn't work out, and just cut it off with the poly one because I just it was settling for me.
oh, I see. Gotcha. Um, so that didn't, do you think there was anything inherent about it being poly that what made it dissatisfying for you? Because it sounds kind of like
No, I
the
was very satisfied.
well then I guess what led to you what led to you
Well,
not
honestly,
wanting to do it anymore?
the fact that it was poly also made me feel like I had the agency to leave at any moment too.
You don't feel like that's the case in a monogamous relationship? You feel like you're trapped in that relationship?
I don't with poly. I just don't feel like I'm trapped. I just feel like there's no commitment.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if you're in a monogamous relationship, do you feel trapped then?
No,
Oh.
I don't feel trapped. I like that. I want to feel trapped. I want to.
Oh, gotcha. I don't
Like I was
think that
saying
I
before.
do.
Yeah, which is not a difference of opinion. It's just a difference of like
Yeah,
person.
expectations and wants. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because usually it ends in a difference in opinion, but this is just difference in the person themselves.
Uh, Tuna Chip says it's not about, he said there's some merit to this idea. It's not about being trapped. It's about the fact that you spent months limiting someone else's agency. You feel as if you have a debt. And I guess that would follow to say that they can only be paid by having your own agency limited as well.
I don't see it that way.
Yeah, I think that wholly I feel uncomfortable limiting other people's agency. I've been told by women that I've been with that I'm the least controlling person they've ever met. I don't tell people what to do unless that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I find it very uncomfortable to like demand things of people. I can state what I want. If it's like a situation where it's like, hey, what do you want? I can say what I want. That's fine. But I almost always add like it's okay not to, or anything like that too. I really don't want to dictate how anybody else behaves to like any capacity. It feels really gross to me. When I was
Mm.
younger, I remember a friend of mine. He was on probation, and part of the conditions of his probation was he wasn't allowed to smoke weed. And we had a bag of weed because like my weed was always his weed and vice versa. Like we were like brothers, like super close homies. And he was like, should I smoke this? I was like, if you smoke it, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna do the dumb fuck thing. You're gonna take niacin thinking it's gonna make you pass your drug test, and it never has, and it never will. That's not how this works. And you're gonna go to jail. But I'm not gonna stop you. And he smoked and he went to jail. And I was very sad for my buddy. I just don't
Mm.
believe that I can dictate somebody else's agency for them. It is very much against my ethics.
I want someone to do that to me. I want someone to I want someone to stop me. I want to stop someone, and I want someone to stop me. I I want that.
Uh,
But
yeah,
that's just like I said before.
I get that. I might not have until recently, but I get that now. My girlfriend will often just want decisions to be made for her, and it's taken me a while to like really understand this and ingrain it. Um, like yesterday when she's having a really bad day, I was like, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" I was like, "All right, you know what? We're just gonna do this." And later she thanked me for it. But it's taken me a long time to be able to take that leap and then just make a decision for somebody else because I understand that I have implicit permission to do it. It still feels weird, and I really have to ease myself into that. Just very very shaky for me to think that I could ever know what's best for another person because I don't think anybody else knows what's best for me.
Hmm.
But well, I don't think that it's a pathetic opinion. I think that it's something that some people do want. It's just very not
What's a
for
pathetic
me
opinion?
to have somebody limit your agency. Tuna is, I think, his strongest moral position that everything else is built upon would be that not limiting anyone else's agency, not limiting anybody's agency. If you limit somebody else's agency, this is like the definition of bad.
I don't trust. I want other people to tell me when I'm wrong. I don't think I'm always going to know what's best for myself.
That's interesting. Yeah, I definitely. Let me put this. I don't know if I always know what's best for myself, but I think that nobody is could know it better than me.
I don't think so. I think I know what's best for you better than you, and you know what's best for me better than me. I just think there's not necessarily me and you, but just inherent to the outside perspective is a lot of value to that.
I
And I
gotcha.
think that's something I like a lot. Yeah, but I think we've pretty much hammered out pretty much everything. I know you have to go soon, right?
Yeah, I got to pick up my girlfriend soon. Like I said, she
Mm-hmm.
lent me her car because my alternator that I just put in decided to dislodge itself because I didn't tighten the bolts enough. She pissed me off too. I cut my hand up pretty good tightening that bolt that came out. Uh,
I
I
did the
will.
opposite. I would replaced my alternator and I broke the bolts off because I tightened them too much.
Oh no.
Yeah. So literally the opposite of you.
It was like the engine block has I'm not that good with cars, so it's like the skin of like the like over it is like coming up and it's like rusty and shit, and it was like pulled up in a way to where like every time I wrenched it, it was just like scratching my hand, and I couldn't do it with the glove on because then that shit would just get
Mm-hmm.
caught on the glove and pull. So I bent it away the best that I could, but it was like cutting up my hand pretty good. It's healing up pretty good now. It looked a lot nastier right after it happened, but so I think I just sort of like decided that it was good enough because I was
Mm-hmm.
tired of having it cut my hand. And I have to use I can't use a socket. There's no way to get a socket, and I had to use regular wrench. So I got to be bent over and hurting my back the whole time and shit. So I was like, there's a lot of reasons for me to be convinced that it was tight enough, and it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
there's another comment from Tuna. If you want, I can read it.
So go ahead.
He said, it's a pathetic desire, and if they enable that desire in you, they are allowing you to stay a child, Smith. Anyone who hasn't yet developed the faculty to make those choices is stunted, and to help them in it is to coddle them.
Right. I don't want dependence. But what I do want is um so I think that in a relationship you get to be a child sometimes. And I don't think I think if one person is always a child and one person is always a parent, that's awful. I think that sometimes you swap and sometimes you need to be a child and sometimes you need to be the parent. And I think that's one of the benefits of a relationship like that.
Interesting. I would highly recommend giving a chat with Tuna sometime. He is an extremely smart person, and I think a very, very good guy. So the time to be a child is in the tomb. Uh, I don't think he means anything malicious when he says any of these things. This is really how he feels. I think
Yeah.
that you guys would probably have a really good chat. I don't see any reason why Tuna wouldn't want to talk to you, but I don't want to speak for him. But I think it would be. I'd watch it. I'd watch it for
I'm
sure.
down to I'm down with your arranged
He said he would
conversation.
definitely talk to you. And also, he says he's also being a bit jokey. I
No,
don't
no, I
think.
don't mind.
Uh, okay, I do gotta go. I gotta go pick up my girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be
Yeah.
getting out. Might be like a couple minutes late. I really appreciate having a conversation with you, Smith.
Yeah.
And my wife is right. Your background lighting is dope as fuck. Also, the
Thank you.
reflection in your window back there kind of makes it look like a cool purple spooky ghost. The way your lights hit
Yeah.
the window.
You see this?
Yeah.
It's okay. They can't see it on my stream, but It's an extension cord that I hung. Okay, this is as far as it goes. It's an extension cord I hung from the ceiling, and I got two like mushroom night lights, and I just plugged them in, and like it's like just thumbtacked up there. But yeah, that's my great invention. The nightlight swing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta run.
Okay. Yes.
I probably should have left
Yeah.
a minute or two sooner, but thank you. And
You're welcome.
We gotta go.
yeah, I
All
was
right,
just
goodbye.
saying I gotta go.
Okay.
I'd be
Goodbye.
happy to talk to you anytime in the future. Peace out, homie.
All right. Peace.
All right, so that's it for me. So the flickering is driving me insane. Thanks for coming by and watching the stream. I gotta fucking